Hey guys, it's Nathan from the Kentucky Adventuring YouTube channel. We are in Breaks Interstate Park. Breaks Canyon is known as the Grand Canyon of the South. It is the deepest canyon east of the Mississippi River and offers some pretty darn spectacular views. I am a little embarrassed to say that I only heard about Breaks a few years ago when I did an interview with 360 Degree Adventures about a bikepacking route that they developed that actually starts from here at the park. But this is a really interesting park. It's not a state park per se. There's a collaboration between Kentucky and Virginia. This sits down on the Kentucky-Virginia state line with Pike County on the western side of the park. Most of the infrastructure is actually on the Virginia side of the park, so we've dipped over into Virginia here at Breaks, Virginia, to Breaks Interstate Park. We came in last night and stopped off to see the Towers Overlook, which is pretty darn iconic. It's a big horseshoe view of the Russell Fork of the Big Sandy River, which actually carved out to make Breaks Canyon. So our primary activity here at the park is going to be a hike of the front side of the park, and I'll provide the details of that hike here when we go into the visitor center where they've got a map so I can show you that. This is officially the first day of spring, so the leaves are still off the trees. We'll still see some views, but it'll only get prettier as time goes on. Now, just kind of a couple of housekeeping things. We're actually staying at the lodge this weekend. There's quite a bit of housing options here. There are some cabins by a lake. There's also a campground, so we'll try to get some footage of that before we leave this weekend so you can see what that looks like. There's a pool here. We're here at the visitor center. It's well done. They have some nice exhibits about the different kind of wildlife and things that exist out here. Really just beautiful facility. I will say that there is a restaurant here at the lodge. It has relatively limited hours, so it's like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you're wanting to get an early breakfast, you're going to need to bring food with you or plan to leave the park, and there's not really anything super close by. I think I ended up going to a Subway and a gas station this morning. It was about a 20-minute drive from here so that we could get breakfast ahead of our hike. Really looking forward to today and just really exploring along the trails and experiencing the nature down here. The views here are fantastic, so just come along with us as we explore Kentucky and Virginia's Breaks Interstate Park. So this is a larger map of the version that they'll give you can carry with you. We've actually talked to the folks here at the visitor center and made a little revisions to our plan based upon the conversations with them, but we're going to start at the visitor center and we're gonna walk down here and pick up the loop trail. We're gonna go out and look at the Towers Tunnel Overlook, and then we're gonna take the Prospector trail over here to the top of the bottom of the Breaks trail. They do recommend kind of moving in this counterclockwise direction. They say it's easier to descend through here, but this will take quite a while. And then we'll get down to the bottom of the Breaks Canyon and basically go along and expect some really scenic scenery through here. They've explained, we had initially thought we might come over and then try to pick up this Center Creek trail just for the purposes of crossing the state line and trying to get into Kentucky. They're basically saying that this trail eventually is going to go away, and so they're in the process of building a bridge to cross this creek, and they said that really the hardest section, they say, is this section right now. So but we're going to do that, but they're going to reroute it to where it goes along this side of the creek and then comes back up. So they're saying eventually this section of trail will actually go away. Right now this shares space with the creek, so we're going to skip that, but we're going to go around like this, make our way back up to the top of the canyon, and then they pointed out that this Prospector's trail which comes up to this, what does not actually connect to the state line overlook. It actually goes below it. So to get to the state line overlook or to get up to this overlook trail and be able to see the overlooks on the way back, we will evaluate when we get there, but we may go this way, in which case we'd have to come across a geological trail to go along the trail. And then there's a couple of different there's the state line overlook. There's a couple of overlooks in here that aren't marked on this map. And then there's the Clinchfield overlook. Alternately, you can get to all those in a car. So if we are tuckered out, we may just come back across the Prospector trail Otherwise, we'll go up like this. We'll come across the Geological trail and then pick up the Overlook trail and head out to those Overlooks on the way back and make our way back up to the lodge. All right, we've just been walking along the main park road. Here's a playground, and we're looking for the left-hand turn off to the loop. All right, well, this is interesting. So the little signage here says Loop Trail. Straight ahead, we're looking at a shelter, so presumably there's more trail to be had. So we'll see how hard it is to find. All right, back behind the shelter, another well-marked. This is nice. So some really well-marked things. Green, in mountain bike terminology, it is often marked as easy to moderate. So this loop trail is also marked as a beginner trail. We're at an intersection, and again, some really nice signage here. But we're going to take a left towards both the Prospector's trail, and you can see the Towers Tunnel Overlook. So we're going to try to make a point to see all the overlooks we can today. Just down the trail, here's another turn. We're going left out towards the Overlook, but we will return back here. And you can see it's just 200 yards, and we'll return back here towards the Prospector Trail after we take a look at the Overlook. All right, so we are at the Tower Tunnels Overlook, and last night we were basically at this far end of the park looking out at the towers right in that big horseshoe bend, and then right down here you can see there is a train tunnel which actually makes its way through there, and expect to hear some. We actually heard some trains last night, and expect to hear more trains today, but we are going to be hiking down close to that river level. So really cool overlook. Just come back up the Towers Tunnel Trail, and we're going left onto the Prospector Trail over to bottom of the Breaks Trail. So this trail is labeled as moderate to difficult. Interesting. So we've come across a climber logbook here. It says, hey, you headed to go climbing? Please take this short survey. So, you know, I guess they're trying to figure out who's out here for safety reasons, but also collecting some information. Come across our first big rock formation. Pretty darn cool. Super cool. I'm totally digging. There's a lot of sandstone towards the top of this. And we were reading last night that you can definitely see, especially out of that Towers Overlook, you can see a lot of darker like shale towards the bottom, which and I guess the presence of that shale helped to deepen the canyon. Now, despite the fact that we don't have a lot of things growing right now, one really cool thing about being here this time of year is you can really see the contours of the land and a lot more visibility. Pretty cool. Alright, there's the water down there. After we get on this trail, off of this trail, we're going to gradually make our way down. So Shannon keeps stopping to admire these trees. Tell us about what you like about this tree, honey.
I just like the way that they're so big and they lean way out over this chasm. Their roots must be so strong.
Life always finds a way. So we've come from this direction, and it's really cool right now just to be able to see that canyon We're kind of coming up to a big bend in the trail. So we are at our next turn. We're about almost 2 miles into our hike, and we're going to take a left here and go for 2.4 miles along the bottom of the Breaks Trail, and we're really going to descend. So this is labeled as strenuous, and we're heading down this way, and we're going to make our way all the way down close to the river. We're catching little glimpses of the train now. You can definitely hear it. Okay, so it looks like there's a tunnel right down here that the train is coming out of. Pretty cool. Okay. I'll say this trail's probably not for those who are afraid of heights, because at least in some areas there's a fairly steep drop off. And then this time of year, they told us actually at the visitor center that there'd be likely be a lot of down trees from the fall, or leaves rather, from the fall. So, you know, there is a lot of places where we can't really see the trail. And they also do recommend walking sticks or hiking poles, trekking poles, and we forgot ours. So Shannon was able to pick up one. They basically have these wood poles at the lodge, but they even have a better selection at the visitor center of both trekking poles and wood poles. So this is probably not for the faint of heart, but this is, you know, you can just see there's like orange blazes kind of pointing you where to go. And it is very steep and pretty technical, but really scenic. Just kind of taking our time. I think remember what they estimated for this trail? 4 hours just for this trail. Yeah, and I mean, I think that would be for the slowest movement, but obviously you're going to take your time with this descent, and I'm sure we'll do the same when we're coming back up. The scale of this canyon is really hard to get. It's really quite large. Alright guys, so what I want to point out is we are right where that little fish head is on the map, and where that creek comes into the river, and you can see state line is right there. So literally right across that creek, right over here, is the state of Kentucky. It's still part of Breaks Interstate Park. Pretty cool stuff. So we're gonna be heading on this side of the creek, which is what the gentleman at the Welcome Center told us was his least favorite part. But they're going to develop the other side of the creek, and right up here you can see they've got some infrastructure going in that is likely, I guess, going to become part of that trail. So they're talking about building a bridge here. So and we're noticing there's some hooks over here. So I don't know if they're going to go across to there or exactly how this is going to work. But the future trail will be on that side of the creek. This is really quite beautiful. And as soon as we turned that corner, there was a nice little cool, yeah, like a cave breeze. It was really nice. So we're having our first kind of wayfinding challenges. So maybe this is what he's talking about. So here's clearly here, and then there's one here. But then we started down this way, and we weren't sure, like maybe we're supposed to go that way. And there's just not really any. There's just, you know, it looks like a big rock garden, but you probably can't tell. There's like a little clearing, and I think I might be spotting some gold paint on a tree beyond that. So we'll just kind of make our way, even though there's not really any clear pathway. So this could be quite challenging through this section. And there's our yellow blades again. So we figured it out. So there's a series of cascades that start way up here and are kind of masked by the forest, but you can kind of see how it makes its way down here. It's really quite beautiful. Okay, so we've made our way through what is a very mossy, rock garden-y kind of section.
Very skinny.
Up to here, but very, very pretty. Stream here with lots of cascades. This is the area where you would go off to the Center Creek Trail, but there's a creek here, but I'm not seeing a way to cross over. But again, what they explained to us at the visitor center is the plan is to develop a bridge here to go along this side and kind of loop back around and then to close this section. So officially this part of the trail is closed, but there's no signage here. But there's a sign that it doesn't, I mean, I don't know if that said anything here or not, but the signage that we're actually seeing, this is where we came from. So this is bottom of the breaks towards Prospector Trail. And then this sign basically says heading up to either towards Prospector Trail or Laurel Branch Trail. Notice 800 feet of strenuous climb and elevation to the Prospector Trail. So we're basically starting up this yellow section, and we're going to get up here and make a decision as to whether we're going to go left or right. I'm guessing we're going to probably want to go this way as to not just kind of repeat where we came.
Yeah.
So we'll basically make our way up to here and then pick up the Geological Trail.
And then go in the green?
And then, yeah, then go on, continue on the Overlook Trail. So we've come from that direction and we're enjoying a nice little plateau. Straight across from us is Kentucky 80, which is in Pike County. So Kentucky's just right over there. So we've gotten to the top of the bottom of the breaks trail, and our options are to either go right, which would take us basically back towards the way that we came on the Prospector Trail, or go left towards the Laurel Branch Trail, which is what we're going to do so that we can pick up the Geological Trail. And Shannon was admiring all the warnings. You want to say some of the warnings that it said?
Well, to do what we did.
To do what we did.
It says, this strenuous route, hikers need to be in good physical condition. Hikers should be prepared to encounter steep, rocky, and dangerous terrain. Hikers need to ensure they have adequate water and food. You're getting ready to burn some calories. Hiking poles and sticks are highly recommended. Make sure your cell phone's charged, 911. Have a flashlight or headlamp. It can take 4 hours to navigate this trail. Make sure you have enough daylight left.
And we didn't take 4 hours to do it, but we did take about 2.5. So, yeah.
That feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So now that you're prepared, enjoy the views.
All right.
It feels really good next to this rock. It must be next to a cave. You feel that cold air?
Yeah, we're getting a little bit cold air. So we're heading off this way.
It's really pretty with all these mossy rocks and ferns and that twisty tree trunk and rhododendrons and rock cliffs. It's really pretty.
Here's another wayfinding sign. We're now going for a little short stretch on the Laurel Branch Trail up to the Geological Trail. And if you like moss and rock formations, my gosh, this is an awesome place. All right, so it wasn't super clear. It was very interesting terrain, but we did get to this sign, and we're gonna go on the Geological Trail now, kind of making our way over towards the state line overlook. So there's no shortage of interesting rock formations through here. There's all kinds of lichen and moss, and then all kinds of interesting dimensions in this rock over here. And then this looks like almost some kind of chimney or something coming up. Just really cool. Appropriately named Geological Trail. All right, this is exciting. I believe that's probably the state line overlook right above us there, but we shall see. We'll have a moment of truth here in a minute. All right, well, this is a pretty major payoff. We are at the state line overlook and just came up from way down there. So that is Kentucky 80 through Pike County. And as we were hiking, we came down here on the B.O.B trail, which is bottom of the breaks, and then cut this way along a creek, and we were actually below that road. So we've come up quite a ways. We are looking out towards Kentucky, and this is said to be the beginning of Pine Mountain. And Pine Mountain basically runs along a ridge, starts out here in these flats and goes up along this ridge top, and that's basically the state line formed between Virginia and Kentucky, and it continues that way for like 125 miles according to the sign that's down here. So it must be not just a single mountain, but like a chain of mountains. So anyway, really, really beautiful. And we're going to make our way back here in a few minutes and pick up some other overlooks on the way back. But man, this is absolutely gorgeous here, and totally worth the payoff of making your way up from the bottom. Really cool. So we've just left the state line overlook, and we're getting on the Overlook trail, which you can see is a green trail, and we're heading towards Pinnacle Rock, which has an overlook. So we come right off the Overlook trail, and there's no markings here, so we're not sure if this is an official overlook or not. But one thing that's cool is we could hear people, and there's rock climbers right down here. Beautiful view right here, right off the Overlook trail. Hard to believe that we are down there. Good morning. It's a Sunday morning, and we just checked out of the lobby and conference center behind us here. We actually stayed over at the Rhododendron Lodge, which is right across the parking lot from where we are right now. And we thought we'd just take this morning and do a little drive around the park, show you some of the additional resources that are here in terms of lodging, especially options. So in addition to the lodge, which there are several different buildings, several different portions of the lodge, there are some cabins, there are some cottages, and there is a campground. So wide variety of options to choose from. I want to reflect just for a minute on that hike we did yesterday. We hiked 7.5 miles with close to 1,600 feet of elevation. And I just think it was tremendously scenic. What's your kind of take on what we did?
It was scenic, but it was very challenging, especially some parts of it, but also interesting and lots of different features, and definitely kept your attention. It wasn't boring. But it was pretty strenuous.
Yeah, well, definitely on the upper end, I think, of what we're probably comfortable with, but really, really beautiful. I think it's just amazing to be able to say that you have hiked down basically into the deepest canyon east of the Mississippi, the Grand Canyon to the south, and then climb back up again and enjoy those views. So you can certainly come here and just go to the overlooks and see the overlooks. Has a whole different feel to it when you've actually climbed up from river level and feel like you've earned those views.
And they're making a lot of changes to the trail, so I think they're making some improvements that are coming, so that'll be good too.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, we're gonna take a few minutes and drive around the park before ending our visit here at Breaks Interstate Park. All right, we are just heading, that is the Chafin Lodge and Conference Center. We actually were in the Redbud Lodge. So we're gonna take a left right here and head into the park. We're working our way towards the Overlooks, and I just want to point out over here on the right, so there's like a playground up in the distance, and there's actually an EV charging station. So you've got an EV. It has both J1772 and the NACS, or what's commonly referred to as the Tesla charger, which I thought was pretty cool. This is the visitor center, where we actually visited yesterday. Among the different things, you can see there's like a settlement back there. There's a moonshine still. What else did we see over there, honey?
Something about corn.
Grist mill. Yeah, so really nice exhibits, well done. A visitor center, very knowledgeable staff. You can, if you want to, you can arrange. You have to do it in advance, but you can arrange for an elk tour. We're told that the optimal time to see them is actually really in the fall, but you can actually drive down there, is my understanding, and you can. If you want to get it this time of year in the spring, they've lost their antlers, but you can see, I guess best time to see them is in the golden hour, either at dawn or dusk. If you just keep driving out here, you'll end up at the state line overlook, which is a great place to go for sunset. You're basically, looking west. It's the most westerly view, and it's a very nice view, and we actually got a really beautiful sunset on Friday night. Here's a picnic shelter over here, and another playground. This is actually where we started the loop trail, was back over behind this shelter. So you can see there's parking lots, and so you can, if you're not inclined towards hiking, you can certainly do little short hikes out to each of the overlooks. You can see we're descending through here. So as we were hiking back yesterday, we were still going uphill.
That was not fun. That was the worst part. Lots of deer out here.
Oh yeah, and the deer are not shy at all. We saw a lot of deer. There were deer right off our little balcony in the lodge. There were deer all around the main lodge area. We'll turn up here in a minute before we get to the state line. So there's the Pinnacle Rock Overlook we saw yesterday.
Interesting was that there was not very many people here. Like, I was surprised. We had, on our big hike, we saw 3 people total, a couple and towards the end, and then one guy hiking.
Yeah, we didn't see very many people on the lower hike. There were plenty of people at the Overlooks yesterday, right?
Yeah, some people were at the Overlooks, but on the actual hike, I was so surprised. It was a beautiful day, and Saturday, and spring, and
I'm sure it must get busier as the season goes on, but yeah, not a lot of people.
Oh, we did see those rock climbers too.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah, we felt like we had that whole lower section to ourselves. All this rhododendron. Really pretty. We're coming up to an intersection, and to our left is going to be the campground. So we're going to take a left on the Breaks Campground Road and see if we can't take a loop through the campground. It looks like there are campground A, B, C, and D loops, so pretty big. I'm not sure how many sites. I'll try to look that up, put it up on the screen for you. Basically over here in the sort of the top of the park, if you will, on the map. So here's an office and visitor check-in for the campground. And there's firewood currently. All right, you are entering bear country. Here's one of our not shy deer. So yeah, they do have like bear boxes on the looks like the campground loop A is currently closed, so they must not be full up here.
Probably seasonal, right?
Yeah, but definitely bear boxes, so you'd want to be able to hang things.
That's close too.
And this is, yeah, that was campground A. This is campground B, also closed. And now we're turning on towards C, I guess.
Looks like some nice sites.
Yeah, it looks like they're nice. They're wooded. Picnic table. Not just a big field for sure. Really pretty. Campground C looks like it's also closed, so I don't know if they just haven't opened the campground yet, but there is the C loop again, wooded, nice sights.
That looks really nice.
And there is
spread out.
Yeah. And there is a D loop down here. Maybe that'll be open. Oh yeah, so here's an example of a site. And then you can see there's electric sites here. Bigger loop down here. So it looks like there's water and electric. I'm not seeing sewage. If you're oh, there is back up in the woods over there. There's a yurt. Okay, so we're coming back up the campground loop. This is the commission or circle, or what they call like the nature drive that we came up from, and now we're heading. Basically, we're kind of up in this little area on the map, and we're going to head out towards the Woodland Cottages. You can see here's a sign for Woodland Cottages. And there's a Flatwoods multi-use trail, and I've read online that it's quite a bit flatter if you're looking for easier hiking. It is not got a lot of elevation, as the name implies, and also has a mountain bike trail back here. Okay, so here are the Woodland Cottages. So 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 cottages here. And that on back is towards the trailhead. It's gravel road. We're just going to turn around right here. Okay, we're back to the, I guess this is called the campground road, but that's where we came from, was the Woodland Cottages. We're continuing on around towards the lake area, which has several lakeside cabins. And then also a water park. So there's the water park. You can see a water slide over there. Looks like a fun place to go in the summer. And then you can get a glimpse of the lake there. Actually, these are the, we won't drive back in there, but those are the lakefront cabins. Look really, really nice. We're rounding our way back to Commission Circle. You'll actually get a better view of the lodge from here. So we're going to head left towards the front of the park. But you can see this is Dogwood Lodge. I believe there's some pet-friendly things here. There's actually Hemlock Lodge, and then on up there's Chafin Lodge, and then Redwood Lodge up the hill. So quite a lot of lodge rooms. And then just to kind of round things out, we're going to stop off one last time and get another look at the Towers Overlook. That big horseshoe bend, which is so iconic. So one thing we noticed when we came in is that this appears to be a zip line. I don't think they're running right now, so maybe that's more of a summer thing. Something you could do is zip line across the canyon, or a portion of the canyon here. So it's gorgeous, and there's nobody here but us. Thank you, Breaks Interstate Park, for a great visit. As always, we hope you found this content useful. If you did, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks.